Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Satvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Padyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmadgurubhyo Namaha. Shruti Smriti Purananamayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavadpadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritam Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishwaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Vadyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. Om Shri Medha Dakshina Murti Swamine Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahavidyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatva Manusandhadami Bhagavat Gite Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunmanti Divyaistavaihi Vedais Sankapadakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Dadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantanna Vidhusura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. So Namaste once again everyone. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन्नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. So this is the sloka of which the meaning of which we are seeing. So here Bhagavan Krishna is making 2 points mainly. Many points he is repeating, but then there are 2 main new points he is introducing, which we can say that it is another way of stating what has already been stated. So he says, Atma is not born, na jayate, nor does it die, na mriyate. So there is no such change as birth and death for the Atma, consciousness. Because birth means what? Certain changes have taken place. Right from, maybe have seen those changes, what changes take place in the birth, we know. But there are no such changes for the Atma. And when we talk of birth, there are different kinds of birth we can visualize or we can think of. For instance, previously something was not there, then later on it came into existence. Like a pot. Earlier the pot was not there, now there is a pot. Or previously something was in one form and now it is in another form. Like you can take the example of a seed. So once it was in a seed form, it is now in a plant form. The same seed has converted into a plant. There has been a sprouting and something new is born. But what has happened? Content-wise, nothing has changed. Only the form has changed. But compared to these kind of changes, which are changes that we experience day in and day out, for the Atma, there are no such births. There is no birth from abhava to bhava, means non-existence to non-existence. It does not also have a birth from bhava to bhava, existing in one form and then assuming another form. In short, Atma does not undergo any change, meaning it is neither born nor it dies. And Puja Swamiji discusses about two basic type of changes, or what he calls vikriyas. Vikriya means change, modification. One is a change of being born. Another is a change that spells death. Isn't it? From a embryo stage to being born is one big change. Then from existing as a being to death is another very big change. So neither of these vikriyas are there for the Atma at any time. That is why he says, na jayate, na mriyate va kadachit. I think some mantra chanting is coming from outside. Some puja is going on the temple. So the first change implying birth and the last change implying death, both have been negated. And when the first and last are negated, we can add all the other changes in between, the growth, the metamorphosis, decline, etc., or what we saw, the Shadvikaras, all those are also dismissed from the Atma because there is no Vikriya whatsoever. So now let us look at this sloka a little detail. Na jayate, Atma is never born. Therefore, birth belongs to Stula and Sukshma Shariram only and not the Atma. Na mriyate. What we should do, it says, na jayate, na mriyate. So, we should read Atma na jayate, Atma na mriyate. That we should read together like that. So, na jayate, mriyate va, this is the sloka. So, what we should read, na jayate, na mriyate. So, Atma does not die, kadachit, at any time. Why is it said so? Because I am na bhutva. Because it never comes into existence at the particular time. That's the reasoning given. Why Atma is na jayate na mriyate? Because I am na bhutva. That which is born only will die. But Atma is never comes into existence at any particular time. So it is unborn. And also na bhavita. It never stops to exist at any future time. So that means what? It never begins its existence, it never ends its existence. Because of that, what it is? It is ajaha, birthless. So Atma is given a name ajaha, birthless. Nityaha, Nitya we have already seen, deathless. So ajaha means birthless, Nityaha means deathless. Then Shashwataha, free from decay, apakshaya rahita. Atma does not become old or does not get old. And by the word Purana, the modification in the form of growth, which is opposite to decay, is also negated. Because growth and decay are opposed to each other. And if we look at the changes that our body undergoes, it is born and then it grows up to a stage. Then that growth, the body starts decaying. So these are, two ends of the curve, bell curve, if you want to call it. The growth is the curve which is going up, and the decay is the curve which is coming down. So the words Purana and Shashwata are basically conveying the opposite meanings. And Puja Swamiji takes the meaning of the word Purana as ever new. Pura api nava. That is also one of the derivations of the word Purana in the language. So even though it is ancient, it is ever new. So Shashvataha means free from decay or decline. But then one can ask the question, if the Atma doesn't decline, does it grow? Because when we are born, as just now I said, we keep growing up to a particular stage. So is it that there is a nascent Atma, a baby Atma, then becomes a child Atma, then adult Atma, etc.? The answer is no. Pujya Swamiji quotes Bhashyakara, says that it does not grow either. So we must not, so all possibilities of misunderstanding Atma, if this is not there, then is it that, and all that, such questions occur to us very naturally. All those possibilities are all negated in order to establish that Atma is neither born nor it dies, and it remains ever new, right? And Bhashyakara, when I said Pujya Swamiji quotes, because Bhashyakara, for growth, he introduced a word called Vriddhi. Purana means Vriddhi Rahita, he says. So any growth means that something that was not earlier should come into being, isn't it? For instance, adolescent, a young man is there. Previously, he did not have any beard and mustache and all that. And therefore, of course, he did not have to shave. Now he has both beard and mustache, and he has to shave every day. This is growth, vriddhi. Something new has happened. So we have to understand that whenever we talk of growth, there are always new features introduced. Either something is added to what is already there, or it expresses itself in some new way. Either way, the arrival of a new feature makes the thing grow. Even when the plant we grow, the sprout, when it begins to grow, it branches out, puts out new leaf, flowers, becomes a full-grown tree, flowers change to fruits. So whenever we talk of growth, some new feature is added. Therefore, growth always implies new features added to a given stem or a given existing thing. And the new feature that has been gained means that which grows is no longer the same. When the new feature added, what it was earlier is no longer the same. That is the feature of growth, constantly changing. So Atma was always ever grown. Yeah, Atma is what is all pervading. There is no place for Atma to bring in new feature to grow and all, because it is pervading everywhere. So Atma never grows. Only that which has got a feature or an attribute can grow and decline, wax and wane, bulge and contract. If it is a color, for example, it will fade. A new color may come, or the existing color may go away. That itself will indicate a change. So whenever we are talking about things in which we experience in this world, something can happen to it, whereas Atma having no features whatsoever, no limbs or attributes, is Purana. It can neither grow nor decline. It remains ever new. So Atma is Vriddhi Rahita, free from growth. And generally Pura means ancient. But here the meaning which Bhashyakara takes is ever fresh. Pura. Atma was fresh earlier, it is still fresh. As I said, it is derived from, it's a derivation for Purana. One of the derivation is Pura Apinava. It is ancient and yet new. It is always fresh. So Atma becomes what? Timeless. It is the very content of the meaning of the word Nava, new. It was Nava then, it is Nava now. It is always new. It does not grow old, and there is no aging, vriddhi, no decline, apakshaya for Atma. So even when the sharira, the body is destroyed, the Atma is not destroyed. That's what he says, na hanyate hanyamane sharire. So we have discussed 4 types.
The voice is not audible.
No, I think there is some problem. Even yesterday, Sanskrit class, there was power outage. He was coming and going. That's what. I don't think. Remember, even when he was talking, he was breaking up. And I think there is a power cut in Coimbatore. That's what I be. Yesterday in Sanskritam class, it just happened. That's what I know.
Guruji, you're on mute.
I don't think so. He was talking. Remember, his mouth was going like this, and I think I'm not.
No.
Oh,
what
he's
happened
here.
is when it becomes disconnected, it automatically mutes me. Then I have to be conscious to unmute myself.
Since it happened
many times I miss it because it's a new experience for me. In Bombay, never no power cut, nothing. Smoothly the class will go. But then in Coimbatore, I have to manage with all these things. But I
since
think
it happened to us in the Sanskritam class, I knew that's what happening. Remember yesterday we were,
So in between that may happen for those who are not there in this Sanskritam class. Because it's raining also in Coimbatore and we are having good rains. So because of that also sometimes the electric connection may go, but then Nana Nani, they have got a backup generator, but there is a time lapse between the power going and the generator coming on. But result is when the power goes, the modem goes, internet goes, Zoom goes. So when till it comes back, we just will have to be a little patient. So anyhow, doesn't matter. So I was telling you, 4 modifications have been said. Janma rahita hai, vriddhi rahita hai, apakshaya rahita hai, and vinasha rahita hai. For Atma, all these 4 modifications are not there. I am audible now, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So in the previous shloka, it was said, I am na hanti na hanyate, if you remember. Atma does not kill, nor can it be killed. And both the words are they're formed from Han Dhatu. Han Dhatu in Sanskrit, it has a meaning of to kill, to destroy. And also there is a Gatyartha Dhatu, to go also is there. But in this context, we are only looking na hanyate, means Atma, na hanti na hanyate, it does not kill, nor it can be killed. Therefore, in this sloka also, what it is said, there is the words which are used in this sloka are na hanyate hanyamane sharire, right? So again, there is a word of talk about killing, na hanyate hanyamane. In the scriptures, as I think probably told you once earlier also, if an idea is repeated, then it is supposed to be a defect in the scripture. But here, both these slokas have been taken from Upanishads, Katha Upanishads, as I told you, this one and the previous sloka. And there also, hanti, hanyate, hanyate, hanyamane, all these are used. So what Bhashyakara, Adi Shankara does is, he makes a differentiation in the meaning of both these, the expression used in the previous sloka and the expression used in this sloka. Even though the dhatu is same, and that's a beauty of Sanskrit, that even though the same verbal root is there, it has got different meanings and you can derive different meanings from the same verbal root. So therefore, here, in order to avoid the defect of repetition, Bhashyakara takes the meaning of Han Dhatu as Viparinama, transformation, undergoing metamorphosis due to afflictions, etc. So where in this sloka, when it is said, na hanyate hanyamane sharire, he interprets it as even when the body undergoes the Shad Bhava Vikaras, including transformation, metamorphosis, etc. Hanyamane sharire. So hanyamane, there is the transformation which the body undergoes. Atmana hanyate. Atma does not undergo any such transformation or metamorphosis. This is the beauty of studying, great scholars like Adi Shankara and God. Because they keep so many things in their mind. Otherwise, somebody will stand up and say, this idea is being repeated, so it's a defect. Same words are used. The same thing he does when he does the Kathopanishad Bhashyam. He gives the same meaning that he brings in Bhagavad Gita also. And so far as the body is concerned, we know that it is afflicted by diseases. It goes out of shape. Sometimes the body bloats because of certain diseases, and in case of certain other diseases, the body shrinks. Different diseases attack the body in different forms, and who can know this better than all of us? The last 2 years, what all, this corona has affected the body in what all ways. Therefore, when the body is anyate, is afflicted, tormented by diseases, na hanyate, Atma does not go out of shape. And this is very easy for us to understand from what background we have seen. Atma does not have any shape at all, so how can it go out of shape? This is a question. And Swami Paramathananda adds a little bit of masala to it. He gives an example. People go to the gym and do dieting, etc. to get into shape within inverted commas. That itself is difficult. Then once the shape is created, one has to maintain that shape. That is even more difficult. Then what happens? Some illness or disease afflicts them and they will go out of shape. So, in the case of Atma, there is no question of any shape. We have seen Akashavat. It has no form or shape. Therefore, there is no question of creating a shape, maintaining a shape, and no question of losing that shape also. So, Atma is free from viparinama also. It is free from parinama or change. And therefore, Atma is called Nirvikara or Avikriya. So till now, Bhagavan Krishna has taught us what all? Atma is Nitya, eternal, Satya, reality, Sarvagata, all pervading, Sharirina, indweller of the body, Aprameya is never known. It is always the knower, not an object of knowledge. Sakshi Chaitanyam. It is Akarta, not a doer. Abhokta, not an enjoyer. And now Nirvikara, free from all 6 types of modification which the body undergoes. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 main features of Atma. And the following verses repeat the same idea in different forms. And now what Krishna is going to do is, on the one hand, he has got Arjuna's problems. On the other hand, he has already defined or taught the nature of Atma, what are the aspects or features of Atma. Now what he is going to do is, in the next few slokas, he is going to correlate them. So he will start addressing Arjuna's issues in the light of what he has taught till now. So from that point of view, even though there are certain ideas repeated, now that was a theory portion. Now he comes to the practical portion. He tells Arjuna, see, I have already told you what this Atma is. Now look at your situation. Apply that teaching to this situation. Then you yourself will understand what I am trying to tell you. What this self-knowledge is all about. What death and all you are talking about, killing, being killed and all you are talking about, you will understand. That is what he is going to start now. So we will read the 21st sloka. Veda vinashinam nityam ya enamajam avyayam katham sapurushav partha kam ghatayati hantikam. So the Anvaya first I will tell you. He Partha, enam avinashinam nityam ajam avyayam yaha veda saha purushaha katham kam ghatayati kam hanti. Word meanings, He Partha, O son of Pritha, Arjuna, enam, this Atma, avinashinam, indestructible or imperishable, nityam, timeless, ajam, unborn, avyayam, that which does not undergo decline, yaha veda, the one who knows, saha, that purushaha, person, katham, how, kam, whom, ghatayati, causes to destroy, kam, whom, hanti, kills. Arjuna has been always talking about destroying people, killing people, and also he says, hey Arjuna, if you understand this, then what are you talking about? Who is that person the one who understands all this? How can we talk of a person killing somebody or destroying somebody? So, oh son of Pritha, the one who knows this self to be imperishable, timeless, unborn, and not subject to decline, how and whom does he cause to kill? Whom does that person kill? This is the question Bhagavan is posing to Arjuna. He is not telling Arjuna directly. He wants Arjuna to reflect upon this teaching, understand what the real nature of the self is. And he wants Arjuna to internalize that understanding in the context of what Arjuna's problems are. So when we look at it, what is the aim of a spiritual seeker? The aim of the spiritual seeker mainly is knowledge. Vedaha means he must know. He uses the word Vedaha in this sloka, right? Vedaha, Yaha Vedaha, the one who knows. The one who knows is this self to be what all we have described. Here Vedaha, we must not mistake it as Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva, Veda and all. There the word is actually Vedaha, plural. Here it is Vedaha, the knowledge. The word Veda means knowledge. So the aim of a spiritual seeker is to know. Know what? Atmanam. Know the Atma, the real self. Find the answer to the question, who am I? Is the aim of the spiritual seeker. And that is what Bhagavan Ravana Maharshi went on advising everybody who came to him for guidance. Ask yourself, who am I? Who am I? Then you will one fine day know who your real self is. And what type of the Atma that you should know? You should not say, who am I? I am so and so and so. I am a man. I am a female. Not that type of Atma. This sloka says what type of Atma one should know. He says the Atma avinashinam nityam ajam avyayam. This Atma one should know. All this we have already seen. Imperishable, avinashinam, nityam, eternal, ajam, unborn, and then avyayam, without decay or old age. Such an Atma one should know, and that is the aim of a spiritual seeker. Now, when we look at the process of knowing, it involves two stages. In the first stage, we have to cognitively separate the body and Atma, the consciousness, because all along our thinking has been that this consciousness, even though we know that there is something called consciousness, our thinking has been that consciousness is an integral part of this body. And this needs to be very, very carefully understood. We are not talking about a physical separation, because the body cannot exist without consciousness. So there is a very close association between body and consciousness. If we try to physically separate, there won't be any body. So we are not talking about physical separation, but a cognitive separation in our mind. This is different, this is different. And by this, we have to first understand that consciousness is not an integral part of the body, but it is an independent entity. If you recall the example of light, if you remember a few classes ago, I gave you the example of light falling on my hand. When I move my hand, the light does not move. The light still is associated with the hand, and that is why I am able to perceive the movement of the hand, but the light is not an integral part of the hand. If it is an integral part, when the hand moves, the light also should move, and where the hand was earlier and now moved, that part should be dark. But that doesn't happen. So light is on the hand. It is intimately connected to the hand, but light is a separate entity. In the same way, consciousness pervades the body. It is intimate, but it is not an integral part of the body. It is a separate entity. This is the first stage of understanding, learning, knowing that has to happen in our mind. And this stage is what we call Shravana. We just have to listen to the scriptures, understand what is being taught, and get to a stage where we are able to cognitively separate these two. This is Atma is different, my physical body is different. And having thus cognitively separated the body and consciousness, the next aim is asking the question. Now I have got two entities in my mind. One is consciousness, one is body. Which of the two am I? Which of the two I should claim as myself? This is the question. And this is what is in another way, as I said, who am I? What is my real identity? Now, until we came to Vedanta, which one have we claimed? We have been claiming, and even now, most of us are claiming that this body alone I am. And it is a very vehement claim. And if the body is so precious, if the body were, having all the features of the Atma, like being, eternal and nirvikara and all, still we can say, okay, we can understand you claiming your body as yourself. But this body is nothing but a decaying matter. Adi Shankara in Bhagawad says, what is this body? It is nothing but a gross amalgamation of blood, flesh, filth. This is what this body is. At any point in time, if you analyze this body, what it is, Nothing but bones, flesh, and inside filth is there. So much filth is there. And then the blood is flowing, pure blood, impure blood. Every movement, what is inside the body has got the potential to finish this body. And every movement, all the cells inside are most of the, I mean, I wouldn't say all cells at the same movement, but turn by turn, the cells are dying, new cells are born. And as we grow older, it is slowly start decaying. The death of the cells takes place faster than the birth of new cells. So certain parts of the body stop functioning. Eyes become blurred, ears we can't hear, hands start shaking. And this kind of a body, this kind of a dirty body is what we want to claim ourselves as. But unfortunately, we are so much enamored and obsessed with this perishing body that we claim this body as ours. We have been claiming it. Therefore, what we have to do, first we have to drop this claim. Drop this claim on the body and claim the consciousness as myself. Of course, this is the biggest and the toughest shift on the part of a seeker, on the part of a mumukshu. Understanding is relatively easier, but shifting of the I from this matter bundle to the consciousness alone will take a huge time, rather, a lot of time it will take. And how do I do that? What is the process I do that? And that is the process of Mananam and Nididhyasana. I have to separately focus on the body and go on saying to myself, then this body is temporarily borrowed from external matters, from the Panchabhutas. Just like the ice in one area solidifies and becomes an iceberg. Even though the iceberg appears to be separate and different from water, what is an iceberg? It is nothing but a water only. Born out of water, floats in water, and we do not know when it will dissolve. Similarly, in this body, this matter portion, there is a small iceberg called the physical body, which can melt at any time and merge back into the Panchabhutas. Panchabhutebhyah jatam panchabhuteshu viliyate. The body is born of the 5 elements and eventually it will resolve into 5 elements. Therefore, this body belongs only to the Panchabhutas, the matter, the material universe. But I am what? I am consciousness. I am the consciousness which is pervading the body, which is enlivening the body, which is indwelling in the body, and which will survive even the dissolution of the body. And as I said, this training is called Nididhyasanam. Training in shifting from shifting the I from matter to consciousness, from changing anatma to changeless anatma, from inert bundle to the consciousness principle. This shift training is called Nididhyasana. And the end result of the Nididhyasanam should be that this shift becomes spontaneous and natural. Just as at present, I am the body, to claim myself as the body is very natural to me. Because somebody comes and asks me, who are you? I give him a complete description of myself, assuming myself to the body. I am tall, I am 6 feet high, I am fair, I am dark, I have a mustache, I don't have a mustache, I wear specs, I have no hair at the front of my head. All these are descriptions we give about ourselves, taking what? Taking ourselves to the body. And that continues even now. It is coming very natural. Natural not only in this birth, from birth together we have been doing that only. It is very difficult to change that. But if we are seeker, if we want to gain what we are seeking, we have to go through a very tough process. And that is a once in a, what I should say, once in a time process. I mean, I can't say once in a life, because then you'll say in this life once. No, it's a once in a entire lifetime process rather. Once we do that change, no more life for us. We'll get rid of all these problems, all these agonies, all these griefs permanently. We will be dwelling in the ananda, which is our natural state. So, like we at present claim the body very naturally, spontaneously, that I am the body, we should reach a stage where we claim I am the Atma. That should become very natural. And that is called here Vedaha, assimilated knowledge, internalized knowledge. And what is the advantage of that assimilated knowledge? Before assimilation, I used to say Atma is Akarta Abhokta. Correct? That's what we have been studying. Atma is Akarta, Atma is Nirvikara, Atma is Aja, Atma is Nitya. That is what we have been studying even till now. But once I assimilate this knowledge, I no longer say Atma is Akarta, but I will say I am Akarta, I am Aja, I am Nitya, I am Nirvikara. This is what we will say. Of course, we won't go and start saying this in a loudspeaker, trying to announce to the whole world. We will probably say this to the people who understand what we are saying, or at least we will say this to our own self. And that is what is important in a spiritual journey. Spiritual journey is not meant to tell the world that I have become a Mahatma, I am a Jnani. So you all bow down to me, you all come and worship me. I have got the knowledge which even in so many janmas you people have not got. I am a special. I have got all Bhagavan's grace on me. Spiritual pursuit is not for any of these things. We must understand that very clearly. Spiritual pursuit is my personal pursuit. It's only for me. I don't need to advertise. I don't need to popularize. I don't need to do anything. All I need to know is that I am consciousness. My real nature is consciousness. This body, mind, sense complex, which I have been taking as myself till now, I now understand it was a temporary residence for me. When the lease period of this body exhausts as per my karma, I will leave this body and go and take another body, take another lease, another house, go to another city, another town, another country probably. And I may take another body like an animal body or not necessarily human body, any body as per my law, as per my karmas. So previously we were saying Atma is Nitya. Once I have actually internalized this knowledge, I will say Aham Nityam Asmi, I am immortal. Aham Satyaha, I am the reality. I am Aham Vishnuhu. I am all pervading. Aham Sakshihi. I am always the subject, the witness. I am Aham Nirvikaraha. I am free from the 6 modification. And finally, Aham Akarta, Aham Abhokta. And this is what Bhagavan says in the second line. Hey Partha, hey Arjuna, Saha Purushaha. That person who is claiming himself to be the formless, all-pervading consciousness, that person who has claimed the Atma as himself, how can that person be a Karta? Katham? how can that person be a doer of any action once he understands that I am a akarta? Therefore, a jnani is an akarta. He understands I am not a doer of action. And whenever we talk of action, akarta, non-doer, understand, we have to understand that action is of two types. One is called direct action, another is called indirect action. Direct action is when I myself do the action. Indirect action is when I instigate another person or another thing, even it could be a dog also, to do the job. Both of them come under the action. Either I am the direct actor or I am the instigator of that action. And both of these actions will have their respective karma phala. For example, when a person steals something, that is a crime. And when a person engages someone else to steal something, that person has also committed a crime, being an accomplice or an instigator. So when we say Atma is Akarta, Krishna says that Atma neither acts by itself nor does it instigate anyone to act. That is the full meaning of what Akarta is. And to indicate this, we have two Sanskrit words. If I am a direct doer, I am called a Karta. And if I am an indirect doer, I am called Karayita. So, Karta and Karayita. Sanskrit students, please note, Karayita is Preranarte Nich Pratyaya, to Kri Dhatu. That becomes Karayita. So, Karta, Karayita. When there is a servant maid, you may not do work. Sitting on a chair, you instruct, do this, do that, etc. Isn't it? Mere presence of the boss, all works goes on. So the boss becomes what? Boss is not a karta, but he becomes a karayita. So what here Krishna says, na hanyate na hanyamane. He says, the Atma is neither karta nor karayita. Once a person understands that Katam sa purusha hai hantim, how can that Atma kill anyone? Katam ghatayatim, how can that Atma instigate anyone to kill? And Bhashyakara says that here Krishna is not posing a question to Arjuna. Rather, the question is a rhetorical question. Akshay parte kim? Katam, come, and all that. In the language, there is this expression. When you say how, it does not mean that we are looking for an answer of a methodology to kill. What we are saying when you say how can he kill means he cannot kill. That is the meaning we have to understand. So it means that Atma cannot kill anyone, nor can it instigate anyone to kill. In short, Atma cannot perform any kind of action. And here, of course, Krishna is talking about the action of killing because the context happens to be Mahabharata. We have to understand it's only representative action. We can extend this to all other actions also. Therefore, Jnani is a Akarta. And that is why only we call him a liberated person, because he does not have any punyam, does not have any papam. Therefore, he does not have any punarjanma also. And all these are the consequences of understanding, getting this knowledge and internalizing, assimilating this knowledge. Now, Pujya Swamiji, in his commentary, he brings in another dimension to this whole thing, which Bhashyakara has not dealt with. So, when a person has given up, so-called, in the sense that as though given up all actions, he considers himself to be Akarta. There is a word in the Vedanta scriptures called Sarva Karma Sannyasi. The Sarva Karma Sannyasi is one. This we will see later in the Gita. Bhagavan Krishna himself talks about who a Sarva Karma Sannyasi is. A Sarva Karma Sannyasi has given up all karmas, is a Sarva Karma Sannyasi. Now the question is, after one becomes a Jnani, will he or will she not perform any action at all? Is it not a fact that the person continues to perform some actions? Even Adi Shankara performed so many actions after he became a Jnani. He set up so many matas all over the country rather. So many scriptures he wrote. All these are all what? Actions only. Or at the minimum, does not a Jnani teach? Does not a Jnani do things like eating, walking, talking, etc.? So how can you say that one still performs all these actions, but still is a Sarva Karma Sannyasi? This question will arise, and especially people who have been studying, the scriptures, and these are all areas of little confusion in the scriptures when we talk of either Gita, Upanishads, and all that. And therefore, this is an opportunity to understand something more about doing action and renouncing actions. There are two words used in the Shastra called Sannyasi and Sarva Karma Sannyasi, and we need to understand them clearly. Because in the previous verse, we saw Kartri Karma, the subject-object division, is not possible for Atma, correct? Atma does not have a subject-object division. It is only the physical body has got subject-object division. And that statement which was said in the previous sloka is validated in the present verse, which is nothing but a replica of the Shruti of Kathopanishad. Therefore, Atma is neither the subject of an action nor the object of an action. The status of doership or kartritva is imposed upon the Atma, while the Atma itself is akarta. And we can gain some insight here by looking at the meaning of the word Sarva Karma Sannyasa. Sannyasa basically means a lifestyle. It is one of the 4 ashramas. The last ashrama which everybody should aim to reach. In the Varnashrama Dharma, Vedic lifestyle. So sannyasa as a lifestyle is one type of sannyasa, and Sarva Karma Sannyasa as a lifestyle is another type of sannyasa. Karma is present, or karma sannyasa is present in both the types of sannyasa. But when sannyasa is taken as a lifestyle, one has not become a jnani when he takes to sannyasa. He is just renouncing certain duties which are ordained in the certain rituals he gives up when he takes sannyasa. So all obligatory duties, including some religious duties, are given up by performing a certain ritual. So when homa is conducted and then he gives up, that person gives up, renounces all these rituals. So that homa which the person performs or sannyasi performs is the last ritual, and that ritual absolves him or her from those rituals and duties that are enjoined by the Vedas for all the 3 ashramas, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, and Vanaprastha. When you take to sannyasa, all the duties which are enjoined for these 3 ashramas, one is freed or absolved from that. This is karma sannyasa, renunciation of all enjoined sannyasa. But this karma sannyasa does not remove doership, the kartritva in you. When the person is doing anything, even after sannyasa, his understanding will be, I am doing this, I am teaching, I am eating, I am talking. He has not yet separated the consciousness, cognitively separated the Atma from the physical body. He still considers himself to be physical body. And many times sannyasa is taken in order to pursue this spiritual path. So at the time of taking sannyasa, one has not attained the spiritual goal. Whereas once one who has gained this knowledge, being a sannyasi, gained this knowledge and internalized or assimilated this knowledge and lives by that knowledge, abides in that knowledge, he becomes a sarva karma sannyasa. So sarva karma sannyasa is knowing the Atma, the I, Aham, as free from action. The knowledge that I perform no action, Aham kinchit na karomi, I am not a doer, Aham na karta, frees me from all actions. So sarva karma sannyasi is the one who does not have the notion that I am the doer. The one who does not have kartritva buddhi. So a person does not become sarva karma sannyasi by merely not doing karma. On the contrary, a sannyasi, even if he or she does not do any karma, but has a kartritva buddhi, he will still be a samsari even though he has taken sannyasa. He has entered sannyasa ashram. There are so many sannyasis. Puja Swamiji used to quote how there are samsari sannyasis in this world. He says, you go to Rishikesh, you will come across only samsari sannyasis. They continue to perform all the action. They have got full kartritva buddhi. They cannot be called sarva karma sannyasi. They cannot be called jnanis or mahatmas. Therefore, whenever we talk of akarta and all that, it is a question of an attitude towards karma. And even when a person performs certain action like eating, drinking and all that, with what attitude does he perform that action? That is important. So a person can be called sarva karma sannyasi if he or she does not have the notion of doership. A sarva karma sannyasi is a jnani, one who is totally free from all karmas. So even if he or she performs some karmas, the jnani understands that I am not performing any action. All these actions are taking place in my body, mind, sense complex. There they are all interacting. My mind is interacting with an external object. Neither I am the mind nor the external object I am. I am not doing any interaction. I am not doing any karma. All actions are happening at the level of the body mind complex. There is no action happening at my swarupa level. This is what a sarva karma sannyasi's attitude is, and that is what we call a jnaniya mahatma. All that takes place for the jnani is that the sense organs, backed by the mind, engage themselves in their own fields of activity, and that goes on. A jnani is only a witness to those things. And being a witness, it is just like watching a movie. He watches the movie being played out in this entire prapancha and enjoys that movie, whether it is a tragedy scene or a comedy scene or a romantic scene. He enjoys all the scenes, being a witness, being a sakshi, being cognitively separated himself from involvement in all these actions. And this is what Bhagwan will say in the 5th chapter. We will see Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma Vijitatma Jitendriya sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tatvavit pashyan shrinvan sprishan jigran ashnan gachan swapan shwasan pralapan visrijan grinnan unmishan nimishan napi. So when he is seeing, when he is blinking his eyes, when he is touching anything, he understands that naiva kinchit karomi iti yuktaha manyeta tattvavet. What is his understanding? Indriyani indriyateshu vartante iti dharayan. It is all an interplay between all the organs of action, the objects of desires and all that. So we will stop here and continue in the next class. Okay. I'll say the prayers. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you all very much.
Namaskaram. Thank you.
Namaskaram, Guruji.
Thank you, Raghuji.
Thank you.
Namaskaram.
Thank you.
Namaskaram and thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Thank you.
Namaskaram, Guruji.
Namaskaram. Namaste.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. So any questions?
Namaskara, Raghuji.
Namaskara. Namaskara.
Thank you,
Without
Guruji.
questions.
Thank you very much.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Thank you. Nothing, no questions.
I have a very silly question.
Okay. I will give you a silly answer. I'm just joking.
No, it is knowing that you are Atma and then unchangeable, Avinashi, and yes, your intellect understands it, but then internalizing it and then keeping it through your Vyavahara during the day, every day. Yes, you did say Nididhyasa is one of the ways. Is there anything else that you have practiced, Guruji, that
See, the practice, as I said, yeah, it's a good question. We cannot straight away get into this jnanam, this knowledge, and then do nididhyasanam and think that it will all happen. As I keep saying, karma yoga is the most important starting point. And what is karma yoga? At the stage of karma yoga, we are still taking ourselves as a karta. But what we are doing is, we are doing a certain action and we are dedicating that action to Bhagawad. So at the first stage, what we are trying to separate is the connection, interconnection between our actions and our desires. Because whenever we are impelled to do any action, how does that happen? There is a desire comes in the mind, right? That desire impels an action on our part, and we do an appropriate action to fulfill that desire. This is the strongest link in samsara between the actor, between the karta and the bhokta. Strongest link. This is what we have been doing birth after birth after birth. I want to buy a house, desire has come. I do everything in order to save money, go to a bank, take a loan and do whatever required to be done. Run around looking for a house, see that the house is suitable for me, isn't it? So many things like that. House is just one example. Any desire that comes, that impels an action on our part. So at the first stage, the karma yoga stage, and that is what we should practice it, till we sort of, what I would say, completely become one with that attitude. Whatever I am doing, Ishwararpanam I am doing. So that Nishkama karma, first stage we have to develop. Without that, if we continue, then what is the question of kartrutvam, bhokta, akarta, abhokta and all? You can never even understand what they mean. So once we have said, I am doing it, but I am not doing it for myself. I am offering to Bhagavan. And whatever Bhagavan thinks that he should reward me with this offer, because I have offered, I will accept it as prasada, Ishvara prasada. This attitude is the first attitude we have to develop for a long period of time. Once we are sure that we have reached that stage, then we are still in Dvaitam. We are still not in Advaitam. We are still treating Bhagavan as someone to whom we are offering everything and from whom we are receiving this. But then that particular attitude will bring in a lot of Chitta Shuddhi. And as you know, Paramathanandaji says, how does it happen and all? Don't ask such a question. You continue to do it, it will happen on its own. You continue karma yoga, chitta shuddhi will automatically happen. It will bring you not only chitta shuddhi, will make your intellect pure, clean, easy to assimilate all these kind of complex knowledge like aham, akarta, aham, abhokta and all. But also actually that will pave the way for you to come here. So karma yoga is the thing which, before we think of all nididhyasanam, mananam and all, focus on karma yoga. Even after you have come to the scriptural studies, continue to practice karma yoga. The attitude, don't leave that attitude. And that attitude automatically, like a flower matures into a raw fruit and then a ripe fruit, that attitude will automatically mature. It's a natural process. It will happen. It will mature into a jnani's attitude. Aham akarta, aham abhokta. This is the path we have to follow. So if that was a silly question, this was a silly answer. Practice karma yoga continues.
Beautiful answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Sulekha ji, any question?
I must thank Laddaji for asking that question. I was about to ask and I stopped myself.
Yeah. That is why this, satsang is very useful for many people who are interested. Many times there are many questions in our mind, but then if somebody else asks, we also get answers to that.
See, it's a very practical question today. Like
Very practical question, very true.
Like you said, how do I describe myself? I have to describe I'm Sitaram. That's all. Nothing more.
Nothing more.
I cannot be telling somebody else that I am a bhokta, I am a karta. You say, "Yaar, ye to ho gaya, mental case hai."
You can tell and face the consequences. They will look for Agra and all that. They say this something is wrong. Take this guy to the mental asylum.
Yeah, the nearest mental hospital will be the destination.
Yes.
Oh.
So that's why I say it's not an easy thing. I mean, when we are looking at, we are drawing inspiration from the Mahatmas who have done it. That's all. Now, unless we have that inspiration, we will just drop the whole thing and forget it. Why should I bother about this? And this birth I have somehow survived. Next birth also I will survive. That will become the attitude, and it will go on endlessly. But if we take inspiration from Swami Chinmayananda, Puja Swamiji, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi and all, they were also born like you and me only, in families full of samsara, with all kartrutva buddhi and bhoktrutva buddhi, everything. But they have achieved it. So all that we need to do is, if we are very serious about the spiritual pursuit, draw inspiration from them and follow the guidance which they have provided us. And it's not only these set of Swamijis who have been living in our lifetime, but also the entire Guru Parampara. If you look at the Guru Parampara, nobody talks about these things differently. Rather, every Guru has talked the same thing again and again and again. And as a teacher, I am also talking the same language only. I am not bringing in a new theory of my own self in this, isn't it? So that is how we have to progress. And how far, how long we have to do and all that. There is no time limit. You just make sure you make this your lifestyle from now on. Continue the process. Let it go on and on and on and on. If not this birth, next birth. It will go on, continue like that. So that is what our approach to spirituality should be. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Vijay Priya. I think there's a hand raised. Any question?
Namaste, Swamiji.
Namaste.
Namaste, namaste. I have a question.
Yeah.
Actually, Atma is Akarta Abhokta.
Yeah.
Body mind complex is matter.
Yes.
So it cannot perform any action.
What? Body mind complex.
Mind,
Yeah,
body mind is
cannot.
by itself is anatma, so it cannot perform any action.
Correct.
Atma does not do action.
Correct.
So how do we understand action that's happening in this world? Should we understand that it's because of the reflected consciousness, because of the ego that action is happening?
Yes, yes, yes. Actually, that is how the process in Tattva Bodha, I explained it when the Tattva Bodha students will remember. Whenever we are talking about an individual Atma, what we talk about is actually this is all comes at a later stage of studies, but still I will explain. See, our intellect has got one capacity. Our intellect has got the capacity to reflect that Atma. And this capacity which is there in the intellect of all living beings is what makes them sentient. What makes them do the actions. And this capacity is missing in things like rock or mud and all that. So even though the Atma is pervading there, Atma is incapable of getting reflected in those bodies. That is why they become insentient, they cannot perform any action. So when we say that there are individual bodies, and that is where the confusion comes. We take individual bodies as individual Atmas, correct? And we are not able to reconcile the fact that Atma is one, it is all pervading. If it is all pervading, only one body, why it is acting? What happens when the body dies? Is there no Atma pervading that body? If that Atma is pervading that body, why the death happens? All these questions will come. Why suddenly from an active, from a karta, the dead body becomes akarta? Not the akarta in the sense of the scriptures akarta, but it becomes actionless. It can't do anything. So for that, the answer is, what is a dead body? It is a fused bulb. That's all. The Atma was nothing. There was electricity was flowing through a fuse, and that bulb was burning. One fine day, the fuse went. So even though the electricity is still flowing in the bulb is incapable of, glowing. That is how we have to understand. So whenever we are talking about the kartrutvam of this body, to start with, the body is jadam. It cannot do any action. But that jadam has got one quality which it can absorb the current and do the actions till such time that the fuse is alive. And the fuse is alive till such time that prarabdha karma is keeping on acting on that body. The past that set of punya papas for this janma, they are active. Till such time the fuse is alive. The moment the prarabdha karma, the last thing finishes, we come to, they say Shubham, prarabdha karma, the fuse goes. After that, whatever you do, that bulb will not burn. The body will wait. You just go and burn the body or bury the body. That's all. Like we throw the bulb in the dustbin. You can't do anything to that. This is how we have to understand how Atma is all pervading, how Atma gets reflected in the body, how that reflection actually helps in the body doing all these actions. This is how we have to understand. Is it clear?
That's very nice explanation. Thank you.
Yeah, so anything more? So if not, we will close because I can then go for my dinner. Where here it's all dinner is time bound. So before 7:30, if I go, I will get my dinner for tonight. Okay. We will meet up in next week. Next week I'll be in Bombay, so class will be from Bombay. Hariom. Thank you very much. Thank you. Of course, Vishnu Sahasranam students tomorrow we will meet.